Welcome to the Back Nine Six Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Back Nine Six Pack. My name is Mitch, as always joined by my esteemed colleague Justin. Some days things happen in the sports world that transcend our little show here.
Yeah, today is one of those.
Today is one of those days. For those of you who may not know, Justin is a massive Green Bay Packers fan. It goes without said, the Aaron Rodgers deal was finalized with the Jets today.
9 times out of 10, I know the sun's going to come up tomorrow. I can't make those promises.
So, first and foremost, just
we got to get these. Let them rip. Needed that.
Second, I think there's only one question I can ask you right now. Have you bought your Jordan Love jersey yet?
No, I'm going to wait until after the draft. Not that I don't like Jordan Love, but I think I have a feeling that the Packers can be very trolly sometimes. I think they're going to take somebody in the first round that's going to be essentially a troll to Aaron Rodgers, and when I say that, I think they're going to take a wide receiver in the first round, possibly someone from Ohio State.
For what, the first time in I saw some stats, some ridiculous thing. It's like the first time in 20 years.
Yeah, it'd be because they barely even. I don't even think they did it. Yeah, they did it with Favre, I think, one time, but that was it. So I think just the ultimate troll move would be like, oh, you want out of here? Guess what? We're going to draft a wide receiver in the first round this year. So, and if it's JSN, we're going to go with a JSN jersey for sure.
Well, Look, I don't want to steal the floor here. I know you've actually prepared some remarks. I really appreciate your bravery and courage in showing up on a day like today.
I'll try to get through this without tearing up.
Please do.
These comments are called "My Rodgers, Oh Rodgers." We will not harp on those heartbroken winter days, other than the Odyssey putter that I snapped in half after the Tampa Bay NFC Championship game in 2021. Although, let's go ahead and get them out of the way. The 1-25 record against San Francisco might not have been that bad, but it felt that bad. The 4 NFC championship losses, multiple early exits into playoffs, all of last season. The additional salt in the wound loss to San Francisco in 2022 playoffs. But you know what? That's not why we're here. We're going to remember the good times, so I'm not going to do any more than that. I will always remember the Super Bowl run, the miracle in Motown, the other 70 Hail Marys that it felt like we needed to win every week. Felt like every week anyway. Owning the Bears. The belt. Owning the Bears again. Making the likes of guys like Tom Crabtree, Jake Kumerow, Richard Rodgers, and Ty Montgomery look like viable NFL receiving options. Owning the NFC North and the Bears. Throwing 1-yard touchdown passes 3 times a game to James Jones for my fantasy team. And my most recent fond memory, watching from the last time in the green and gold in Cincinnati, and unfortunately for some of our listeners, Green Bay got the win. So I'm going to cap it off with this. To remember the good days with Aaron Rodgers and the Aaron Rodgers era. Let us quote Andy Bernard. I wish there was a way to know you were in the good old days before you actually left them. I will not be taking questions at this time. Thank you. Are there any questions?
I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. No pun intended on unpack.
Or pun intended.
I guess just to give my 2 cents on it, like, how did Aaron Rodgers become Brett Favre? That was like his thing. He didn't want to be Brett Favre.
And he did. He did exactly what.
So he's going to get hurt this year and go to the Vikings, right?
Yes. His last pass as a Packer was an interception. Same as Brett Favre. He's now with the Jets. I mean, we're like a dick pick away from being full Brett Favre. Like, going full Brett Favre on this. I don't know. And it's crazy because I don't think, and I love Aaron Rodgers. I probably like him more than most of the fan base, but I think he's probably hated more by the fan base than what the fan base hated Favre when he left.
Oh, I 100%.
And I don't even think it's close, and it's so funny that he didn't even have to go to the Vikings in order for him to be more hated than Favre. I think as time passes, just like Favre, people will get over it. But right now, it's like, he just essentially forced him into a deal last year and then just was like, peace, kind of like, I want out of here. So we'll see. I mean, I love Aaron, and I obviously one Super Bowl with that talent is just criminal, to say the least. But here we are.
That's
one Super Bowl, and now he's gone.
When you look back on whatever it was, it's 20 plus years between Favre and Rodgers.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, and a lot of Packers fans, even going into that last year, were, we're never going to be good again. It's like, I'm going to give the Packers the benefit of the doubt. They've always, it seems like in our lifetime, they've always found a way to find the next guy, right? So whether that's Jordan Love, I don't know, but yeah, it's crazy. We're back to, I don't think a lot of Packers fans, even my age, know what this is like quarterback, right? You really don't have Aaron Rodgers, everybody knew he's pretty good. You heard some stories after last couple years of Favre, what he was doing in practice, but obviously that, so you had some hope. Love, we've kind of seen, and you're like, maybe, I don't know. So, and it doesn't help that they stretched for him in the first round. Aaron Rodgers was not a stretch in the first round when they picked him, what was it, 25th? It's right. People thought he was a legitimate top 5, top 10 pick. So that probably doesn't help Jordan Love's case either. So, yeah. But we'll move on. And the Bengals at 28 pretty much can get whatever they want, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, so part of this deal, the Packers moved up to 13 from 15. Obviously, you've already just...
Yeah, I kind of went into that. Yeah, if it's not a wide receiver, we can almost guarantee it's going to be someone on defense. But I think they're going to try to give Jordan Love some help, and whether that's JSN or another wide receiver, seems like that's probably the route they're going to go.
Yeah, I listened to a little bit of your GM's interview or press conference I wanted to prep for tonight, see if anything cool came out of that, which it didn't. He pretty much said next question the whole time. But one of the things he did mention was that he loves the tight end class. So pretty high for a tight end there. I would imagine they'd take JSN there instead. But
yeah, that would be a reach for a tight end, especially in this tight end. What seems like a pretty deep tight end class. So you could probably get someone in the second round, that's just as good. But yeah. I think the Packers feel like they got cheated or forced into something. I feel like they're just going to troll them and take a wide receiver. Would be the ultimate troll job. I really think it would. It's like, oh, you're gone. Guess what? Now we're going to draft a wide receiver in the first round. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm hopeful because they've always kind of figured it out. Now it's not the same leadership as 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 12 years ago, but I'm hopeful.
Speaking of hopeful, it's been nothing short of hopeful in Cincinnati for the last 2 years.
A lot of hope.
3 years ago, they drafted our Lord and Savior, Joseph Lee Burrow. Literally saved my football fandom. I think I was pretty much
checked out,
on the edge, ready to jump after that first year with Zach Taylor. So, sitting there at 28.
Oh, let me quote. You're talking about my best friend, Zach Taylor.
Correct, yeah. Oh, man, we didn't even share that.
I know.
Justin ran into Zach Taylor at Miles of Golf the other day. Just electric.
Just two guys hitting range balls, just out there working on their games. They're on a rainy Friday. Now we're best friends.
Rocking the Walter Hagen polo. That was fantastic. You love to see that.
He's a Dick's guy. So.
Yeah. Bengals have the 28th pick. They're in a spot with the roster. It really seems like they can kind of go best player available. Look, I don't know much about any of these. I couldn't tell you. I don't watch that much college football to know, but I'd prefer they go, defensive back, either a corner or a safety, depending on who's there, or obviously a lot of chatter about tight end for them too.
Yeah.
So
and they're in the best position again this year, where it's like you have some needs. You also don't have to stretch for somebody that, we absolutely have to draft an offensive lineman. So I think it's going to be cool. I honestly just think it's going to be all right, here's our top 40, and whoever's at the top of the list after everybody else gets done picking is either going to take. It could be running back, it could be a tight end. I hope it's not a running back, because if you don't get if you don't get the guy from Texas, I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Bijan Robinson.
Bijan. Yeah. If you don't get him, I don't think anybody else is really probably grading out in the first round. But no, I think it's going to be cool to see who they take. I really don't think it's going to be an offensive lineman. I really don't think so.
No, I don't think they're pressed into that spot at this moment, but I mean, we'll see how it all shakes out.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, they're in a good spot. Like I said, they're not forced to. You see teams make bad decisions when they feel like they're forced into taking a certain position, and they make they get forced into it by their teams. Rumors flying around like we're going to trade up and take this guy because they know that they have to take this guy. So they're in a good position. They can kind of just take whoever's there, and that's going to make them better. So
I love watching the draft. Like I said, I don't know much about the players, but there's just like I don't know. I'll sit there and watch this.
Like everybody has hope, right? Like at that point, you hope that the next Eli or not Eli, God no, Peyton or whoever is going to lead your team to a Super Bowl. So it's a lot of hope. It's fun. I love the setup now where they do one. The first night is just the first round.
Yeah.
When they used to do the first 2 rounds in the first night. Hated that. So I do like the way they do it now too, just because it's like the first round is the hoopla, right? It's like you're a first rounder, and then they spread it out from there. So I do like that.
Yeah, and it seems like there's still, just from stuff I've listened to, lots of room for teams to make some moves within that top 10, and depending on where the quarterbacks end up falling, it could be madness. Which is
there's a lot of rumors already flying around about it. You know what I mean? It's like C.J. Stroud was at the S2 test or something. Like, well, we've never had anybody be good after not scoring well in those tests, and they're trying to talk the Florida guy up above him, and above Bryce too, and it's like we all know what's happening here. Like 99% of the information that's coming out right now is teams trying to talk certain guys down so they can get them at a discount. Right. So, but all right. Well, this is not an NFL podcast, but let's move on. So you played golf last week. I did not. So I did win a bet in that. You set, what was it, 82.5?
I set the over-under 82.5 based on, there was some wind,
I'm telling you, I took the under just based on how you played last time we played together. And I was like, there's no way.
Greens were aerated, so that's also a factor. But yeah, no, look, your faith was, I think it got me through the finish line. I was battling for you out there.
It was a no-doubter for me. But
so, I played,
what did you start out? Let's see.
Played 18 at the Hamilton Ellis Golf Club. Blue to red. I was 1 over through the
Some
first
would say
5.
the easier combination of the two, right?
That's, got to be.
I think by rating
it is the easiest of the 18s. 1 over through 5. Really, really scumbag chip-in bogey on the second hole.
Which, by the way,
putting 2 in the water. So
2 rounds, 2 chip-ins. Just so we can get that out there.
Chip-ins is the theme here. Wait, we'll get to that later. Maybe I need to rethink my position on chip-ins. Then I proceeded to go 7 over through the next 7. That included a horrible double bogey on the par 3 third hole on red. Went with the I don't know how many people know what I'm going to reference here, the game Wolfhammer. But there's a lot of junk in that game, one of which is called the Saddam, and it's when you go bunker to bunker, which I did on that hole.
That's my favorite one. It's such a kick. It's such a kick in the nuts too.
Not only did the Saddam, also did the Hitler, which is 2 shots from the same bunker. So, really tidy double bogey for me.
By the way, also your second round in a row, you had that happen to you because you did one a couple weeks ago too. That's a tough.
I would love to blame this on the bunkers.
You got the bunker yips right now.
I don't know what happened because with the first round we played, I had the one, but the other I got in the bunkers a lot that round, and the other 3 were all sandies. But that happened to me. It was not good. But then, so this is where you either you hit the eject button and you're flying through and you're shooting 85, 80, whatever.
You could have turned for the worst.
Could have turned for the worst.
Definitely could have turned for the worst.
Bounce back, nice par in the next hole after that double. Birdied the 5th hole, which is a par 3. He was playing 219, downwind.
Yeah, it's a big green, but I don't care. That hole's tough. It just is.
It was a middle right pin. Drew a 4-iron to about 18 feet and just banged it home.
Yeah, there's not many birdies on that hole.
And I was back. So needless to say, I was 1 under through the last 6, dude. Right there at 79. Break 80. Handicap, last week I stated my goal was to have a handicap that starts with a 5 by the end of the season.
We're getting close.
We're at a 6.7,
really
down from a 7.6 already. So there's my little golf update.
You're 2 rounds in. You're 2 rounds in and shaved what? A stroke
Almost
off?
a stroke off, yeah.
Ooh. Oh.
So here's the difference that
I'm going to drop down a flight here, too.
It's been 2 rounds, spring golf. I could just be having like that.
Greens aren't, and for those of you who don't know, like our greens when the summer, they get firm, they get fast. I mean, they're tough greens to putt on as it is. Like that, the stroke average goes up 2 or 3 when you get to that point in the summer. End of June, beginning of July. That's when it really starts to get tough. But not going to discount anything, right? Like you still broke 80.
Yeah, well, so there's 2 things here, 2 factors at play. One, I could be in the honeymoon phase because we had a kid in January.
Yeah, you got the dad juices flowing still.
I've not played. This was my 3rd round in the last 6 months. So it's few and far between. So it could just be that, getting back out there and, things feel fine.
So we'll see when you get a little more consistency as far as playing goes.
Yeah, more reps, more data points.
Yeah.
But 2, those 2 rounds, the 77 and 79, I've not had a 3-putt yet this year. So we'll see as the greens, go get a little quicker.
I do remember you putting really well the day we played.
Yeah, it's been good.
And, even before the aeration, I think our greens were rolling pretty good. They're rolling 10.2 to 10.5, so they're not fast, but on those greens, as you can get away from you pretty quickly. So if you're putting well out there, you're going to putt well anywhere, in any kind of green. So, I mean, this putter will always save you. Like I think I always tell people this. I'm like, the people that can't break 90, I'm like, all you have to do is no 3 putts, limit your 3 putts, and limit your double chips, right? Like, don't chip twice. Just get it on the green. And so if you're limiting 3 putts, it's not surprised that you're dropping as fast as you are, which is good and bad.
So we'll monitor the situation. I could be trending. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that was me. Now we'll move on again. Pro golf. The Zurich Classic. It was a team event. I watched like 10 minutes of the coverage.
That's about
this week.
what I watched too. Yeah, I watched just in time to watch Keith Mitchell and Sung JM, and then who was it? Bo Hostler and Wyndham Clark. They literally were in 18 fairway, and that was all I watched
on Sunday.
And I saw some highlights. Yeah. I mean, especially now, I just think the burnout. Like usually people Masters. It's, the Hilton Head tournament that everybody kind of gets burned down on. They're like, all right, I'm not going to watch it. With the elevated event, is like the burnout really set in this week. I mean, obviously a different format, but the burnout for me at least kind of set in. It's like, all right, need a week off from golf, especially since I didn't get to play last week. I really wasn't in the mood to watch. So,
I think the great thing about the way the tour is restructuring with the designated events and all that stuff is like it lets you take an off week. Like you don't feel like you're missing something by not watching the tournament.
Exactly. I thought there was cool team matchups, as far as the people that were teamed up.
I was so disappointed that Morikawa and Homa missed the cut.
I will tell you, I don't know what the odds were on that, but and I'm sure there were odds because they were probably
had
a
to be
favorite,
plus money,
one of the favorites. I mean, that would have paid out pretty good. But, yeah, that was a little sad that it just kind of felt like they were both playing pretty good, too. And it's like all of a sudden it's like they just missed the cut.
I think they just played a ton of golf in the last, 6 to 8 weeks probably with – And I
could see how the draw of that, a lot of those guys are probably using that as a vacation, too, right? Hey, we're playing in the golf tournament, probably going to try to make a little money, but in reality, are they going out and grinding on the range, 3 hours after a round for that tournament? No. They're getting their wives and they're going to eat dinner and they're probably not taking it too serious. So, but yeah, I was disappointing. I was hoping I didn't bet this week. I kind of took the week off just after the previous week, but yeah, that was the big disappointment of the week. And I thought them not making the cut. was kind of sad. So
Yeah, I think
just because I think the hype behind them being teammates was kind of like everybody's like, holy crap. So
right, and I think I would watch out for them to be a pairing in the Ryder Cup this fall. They're both Cal Bears,
oh yeah,
really good ball strikers. Max has upped his putting tremendously this year, so I think they would make a great alternate shot team.
Oh, heck yeah.
Why I was disappointed to see they didn't make the cut this week. But
yep.
We buried the lead a little bit. Davis Riley and Nick Hardy won. Those are two guys where if you have bet on golf or played fantasy golf for the last year or so, very popular names.
Yes.
Otherwise, I would not have known who they are, frankly.
No, and apparently they were teammates in like the East-West, like some junior tournament back in the day, and they've known each other for a while, and that's how they hooked up. Yeah, I mean, I knew who they were, but I think Davis Riley kind of came on last year a little bit. He played pretty well. But yeah, other than that, I think your average golf fan's probably going to like, who the fuck are these guys? like no idea who these guys are. But clearly that's how deep the PGA Tour is. You're like, who the hell are these guys? And they broke a tournament record. They were 30 under. That was a tournament record for the Zurich. Since the team thing came in, it was like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, it was still pretty new. We'll get to how deep the PGA Tour is in a minute because I question that.
But I think everybody, we talked about this before we started recording. The team that everybody, like I thought was the coolest was Keith Mitchell and Sung J M.
Oh, yeah.
And then Sung J M dropping the Go Dogs in their interview after I think one of their practice rounds or whatever. I was like, it's cool because they are like complete opposites. Like you have Southern boy Keith Mitchell and then Sung J M, he's Korean, right? Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. Like you do, because you see a lot of these guys match up, and you're like, "Oh, that makes sense." Like Morikawa and Homa, excuse me. You're like, that makes sense. But then you see like Sung J M and Keith. When I remember seeing it, like at the beginning of last week, and I'm like, "That's odd."
Apparently, Sung J called Keith Mitchell to ask him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
like that's wild.
That's cool. I thought they were cool though. That was cool. Seeing them
that was
interact.
such a good vibe, and their interviews were just amazing.
I think you usually play better golf too when you're like, as much as we want to play good with our best friends and things like that, but like having that aspect of like learning somebody's game and stuff like that can maybe help you focus a little more. And they played good for really 3 rounds and then didn't play well on Sunday, but they still came in 5th. So, but I liked them. They were cool. I was like, some of the videos that came out from them were really, really cool.
Yeah, so we can move on now to, you had the betting woes last week. My God.
Yeah, I took the week off. I was too jaded.
I had him this week. I did one bet for the week on golf. I had a nice little Friday 3-leg parlay matchups going.
I hate the matchups, by the way.
I love the matchups. Oh, man. That's a market.
My heart gets too much. Like my heart, like, because I'm like, I hate this guy. I really like this guy, and that's why I don't bet him. So,
that's a fantastic market. You need to go there. Yeah. So we already talked about some of these groups. So I'll skip some of the details here, but I had Keith and Sungjae against the Gal and Suh. They win. Morikawa and Homa against the Fitzpatrick brothers. They win. Horschel and Burns against Tom Hoagie and Harris English. Here's where I'll bring up some details. I don't remember the holes. Long story short, Harris English chipped in not once, but twice for birdie.
I didn't watch much, but I did remember seeing those highlights, so yes.
Not once, but twice for birdie. Either of those doesn't go.
Please tell me it was on the back 9.
I don't know. I could not recall that because I was kind of in and out of watching. But anyway, they get to the 18th hole. It's a par 5. They're tied 3 under apiece. So mind you, if both those chip-ins don't go in, I'm up 2. I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm
par
up
5.
1. I'm probably fine.
I know. I didn't watch much of it, but I know the last hole is a par 5.
Needless to say, Billy and Sammy do not birdie the hole, and Hoagie and English do birdie the hole to win, and I lose my parlay. So
that's tough.
Womp womp.
Well, especially because I don't know, like.
Just don't chip in. Just one of those doesn't go in. And
I feel like you had the better team. You know what I mean? Like going into it. I don't.
They had to chip in twice.
I know.
Yes, I had the better team.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough beat. I mean, especially Because my feeling on parlays like that, and this goes for any sport, like I either want to win all of them or none of them. Like I don't want to win 4 of them, or 4 of the 5. Like I either want to win all of them or none of them. Don't leave me one leg short.
No.
And those are always the toughest ones to swallow. Yeah, this is 2 weeks in a row we've had some betting woes. And again, that's part of the reason I didn't bet this week. I was like, I got to take a week off. Like I was so jaded last week.
It was a good week to take off.
Yeah, the whole team aspect, because then again, it's like I saw some guys and I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm going to bet with my heart, right? Thank God I didn't on one of these, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But I was going to bet with my heart, and it wasn't going to. I knew in deep down inside that it wasn't going to end up well. So I just removed myself from the situation and didn't bet this week. So
smart.
Kudos to me.
Kudos to you. So I did just have a question for you. So like thoughts on this event? I know it just went under a format change. Like it still feels kind of like I don't like the alternating between best ball and alternate shot.
No, because I feel like if you're going to do a tournament like that, you just need to do is it an alternate shot tournament or is it a best ball tournament? Like, that was weird. Yeah, I didn't like going the back and forth. I wish they would have just stuck to best ball. I mean, it would be really hard to do an all alternate shot tournament. I guess be entertaining. At the
Honestly,
very
I'd
minimum.
rather do the all alternate.
Yeah,
shot
I mean the best ball. It's like you already see these guys play their own ball every week. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. And then obviously, like what we talked about, you know, doing a male female team. So you have one PGA golfer and one LPGA. Because what it's turned into with you when you one of the guys just has to have status, right?
Yep.
So it turns into I'm going to bring my brother. This is actually the second year in a row someone's brought their brother that has no status on the tour. Last year, Koepka brought Chase. Whole nother story from this weekend, but we won't get into that. And then this year, Matt Fitzpatrick coming off his win brought his brother, who has no great golfer. No, it's just become like this. Like I'm going to bring my brother who's a professional golfer and on whatever tour. And so I think adding the girl format to it, the LPGA, heck, you could even, if someone knows somebody on like the Epson tour, like I would have no problem, or even the Corn Ferry tour. Like if an LPGA girl was like, I want so-and-so from the Corn Ferry. Like I think that would be a really cool format. But you just have to have status on one of those two tours for both women and men. I think that would be really cool. And I think, I could be mistaken, but I think that the European Tour did something like this last year, correct? Where they had a female-male team, correct?
I can't remember. I actually think the PGA Tour does, like in the fall.
Well, they're doing it in the fall, and that's more.
But that's like the off season.
Yeah. So I want to see, and obviously I know that the women just had a major this week, so you probably have to like move that, I would assume. But they've got to do something to spice it up. This was really cool the first year, and I think it's kind of run its path.
Yeah, especially just because it's like lost. It's like there were some super teams that you would have. I mean, you basically had like 2 or 3 teams that you would consider like maybe a super team this week. But for me, depending on what goes on with the match play tournament that I guess is not happening again next year, the WGC's out. I would love to see this be like a team match play event in some way, where
that
like
would be so cool.
You should like Thursday, Friday, like maybe you do like best ball and like qualifying, and then you cut it to like whatever 16 teams or something,
or even something like you could flight it, right? Like obviously they're not flighting by handicap, but you just flight it.
Oh, you could do it by world rank.
Yeah, you do it by world rankings, like flight it, and then like get flight winners, and that's like the cut, right? And then
there you go. And
then play the weekend, and maybe it's a match play format from there. Like that to me would be like if you had 16 flights, you have 16 winners of those flights, and then starting on Saturday, they do Sweet 16, Elite 8, and then kind of what they do with the match play. That would be awesome. I would love to see like 16 of them go out and play the same hole. Like
just do a shootout.
Just do a shootout.
Yeah.
That would be freaking awesome. But I know that probably wouldn't be possible. But that would be. You can't. I would watch it. I would 100% watch it.
Yeah, I'm watching any match play that's going on ever, and if
it's the best form of
team
golf,
match play
for sure.
is like the top, like the GOAT of
Oh, it is
golf.
if singles match plays, that's definitely second to, you get a pair out there, and that's why we all love the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup, and I'm not going to leave the Solheim Cup because I watched a lot of Solheim Cup. The last one that was on at Inverness this past time. But yeah, like playing golf with a partner in match play is the ultimate form of golf. So maybe they'll do something like that down the road. Hopefully spice it up. I feel like this format's run its course, at least to me. But it's also maybe because they're coming off an elevated event last week too. Yeah. So
all four of them trying new stuff though. It's cool with me.
Let's get on to the important news. More heartbreak for me this week, but let's get on to the important news here.
This week's just a personal attack on Justin here. Who needed the back nine six-pack this week? We were very concerned we would not have a candidate from the PGA Tour.
But instead, we got a runaway winner.
Of runaway winners
a
as a team.
Consensus winner. Like, across the board, consensus winner. No one can even argue it.
And this is what I was talking about with the depth of the PGA Tour. Like, look, all due respect to John Daly and David Duval, but if they're running them out in the year of the Lord 2023 and a PGA Tour event, it's tough.
We got problems.
We got some problems. And there's no better evidence than their scores for the week.
Yeah. Look, Friday was bad. 75, right? If I'm not mistaken.
That's Thursday.
Or Thursday was bad. 75. And I was like,
whoa. One birdie, which David Duval, your boy, did make.
Hey, you find it sometimes, right?
Yeah. But to take a double bogey in best ball.
Well, that's a tough scene.
Ouch.
Wow.
75 on Thursday. That's fine. We let that round slide. You're only 3 over. It's okay.
But I knew watching their score on Thursday, I was like, alternate shot's going to be bad.
And it proved to be very, very bad.
My
Mr.
boy
Daly
David.
And Mr. Duval.
Oh, Duval. Oh, I love him so much, but we were beyond the point of, and he's going to play in the Open again, obviously, but like I'm beyond the point of, it just hurts. It hurts. I have the David Duval, used to buy the Nike golf balls and get their bobblehead. Like, I have that. Like, I love them so much, but holy crap. 81. Like, this is amateur hour right now.
You wish it was 81, 83.
Or 83. Sorry, that's right. Oh, that's right. It was as bad as I thought.
They may have gotten the back nine six-pack because after the 45 on the front, they birdied the 10th hole. So definite vibes of the back nine six-pack there.
Here's the thing. Is David has not played good golf since he got rid of those Oakley sunglasses, those big old, I don't even know what they call them, like what sunglasses, but they're just gigantic Oakley sunglasses. He needs to bring those back. I fully expect to see those at the Open.
I mean, how old is he at this point?
God, he's definitely eligible for the senior tour. I know that, so he's over 50. He's got to be in his mid-50s. We'll check. We'll look at that up. But
I guess if I could get behind Tiger wearing all mocks to win the 2019 Masters, I'm cool with Duval bringing
those sunglasses. Back. He hasn't played good since he stopped wearing them. But it was, the 83. Oof. I get alternate shot, and it's not easy. But, dude, you guys have like 45 years of we'll call it 50. And it might even be more than that, of professional golf between you. What are we doing? 83? Like, you got to sack up at some point and go, I'm not shooting in the 80s. And boy, did they go the opposite direction.
Yeah, what I love about it is truly, it is like when we talk about I'm getting the back nine six-pack.
Let's hear the scorecard. Okay, go ahead.
You got, okay. I'm just going to read them as they are on the scorecard. Bogey, bogey, par, double, bogey, double, par, double for a 45. The back nine much more. I mean, I think they got. I literally think they stopped at the turn.
Knowing Daly, they probably did.
Like I said, they birdied 10. They had a double on 14, and they bogeyed the last hole of the par 5 18 to shoot 38. But for us, a 45-38, I'm like,
all right, hey, we pulled it together.
83 saved it,
and they did pull it together. They showed some grit out there,
no doubt. They didn't withdraw.
They didn't WD. No, they didn't WD. They're too. Hey, David Duval is too much of a professional to WD. So they probably did get a back nine six-pack. They're probably like, Daly's like, look, we're gonna get some brewskis on the turn here, and we're gonna go to the casino later tonight. And David Duvall's like, I'm going to bed at 8:30. So,
and this is why we give this. They're getting the Who Needed the Back 9 6-pack award respectfully this week.
Respect. With respect, yes. The guy shoots 59 and has, a major and was number 1 in the world. We won't talk bad about guys like that. So,
not all the time, at least.
All right.
But
shout out to David Duvall.
Yeah,
hey, he's still plucking
John
along.
Daly,
And John Daly. Yep. But they're definitely deserving this week.
Yeah, well, kind of speaking of throwbacks like those two guys, shout out to Jason, your brother, for coming up with this idea, right?
Yeah, it was. So it's so funny. He called me. I didn't answer, like, on Friday night. And then I called him back, like, later Friday night. And he was like, hey, he's like, I was looking at my Scotty camera. And he was like, I was listening to this podcast. And they were kind of talking about clubs they had connections to. And he was like, I think that'd be a really cool subject to talk about. And I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? He's like, he's on to something, because I have clubs in my life that I have an emotional attachment to, right? Like, I know you do, and we're going to kind of go through the list here, but I have a ton of them. Honestly, it was hard to kind of narrow it down to, like, the top 6. But I have a lot of clubs that I was like, man, I wish I would have kept that, or I still have it. But yeah, I thought it was a really cool subject, and I'm sure anybody that listens to this, they can probably think, as soon as they hear it, probably think, I was like, I never got rid of that club, or, man, why did I get rid of that club? I love that club. So it'd be a pretty cool discussion.
Yeah, we're back for more power rankings this week. We are going to power rank our most nostalgic golf clubs that we've owned personally.
Yeah, and nostalgic, and whether that's, you bought it, that was the first club you bought yourself, or you made a lot of clutch putts with that putter, or whatever it might be. There's a lot of ties to nostalgia, right? So I'll let you start it off. What's your number 6?
Number 6 for me is the first Vokey wedge that I purchased.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Which might be a theme on this list. I don't know. A lot of
wedges.
No, just a lot of like secondhand equipment for me over the years. I grew up playing my dad's clubs basically until I finally got like my first set of irons. I think my junior year of high school. So like my first 2 years, I played my dad's irons. Anyway, the first Vokey 56. I bought this thing off the rack, the used club rack at Golf Galaxy.
Hell yeah. Discounts.
Oh yeah, and I frankly changed my life. I will never play another wedge other than a Vokey wedge.
Nope.
3 of them in the bag right now.
Yeah.
Just bought them 2 years ago.
The best wedge in the world, by far.
Yeah, so there's not much like personal attachment to that, but it was a game changer for me, just like putting like a class club in my bag.
For the first time. Yeah, that... I feel that. And you got it on a discount. Like, you didn't have to pay, I don't know I can't remember what they were back in the day, but still expensive, right?
Right. I mean, that was, I think I was probably like sophomore, junior in high school, so like, I'm paying with whatever.
And it's cool you've never used another wedge since, too. Like, that's even cooler.
Yeah, and that thing was my stuff was so outdated until the last couple of years. That didn't get replaced until 2 years ago, year and a half ago, so.
Damn. Yeah. That's awesome. I like that. Everybody thinks wedges go bad, too. And to a certain extent, I guess they do, but you can use them longer than most people.
Well, this one had the old grooves, right? So, I mean, that thing
that thing wasn't even conforming. You're sucking things back out of the rough.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you guys are the team of non-conforming wedges.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to do mine 6. And I don't know if we knew each other at this point. Maybe we did. My Nike slingshot irons. And here's why. First off, they were hideous.
Oh.
And I bought them when like everybody wanted Nike clubs. And I don't know if anybody remembers the Nike slingshots.
Hold on, shout out to my buddy Tyler if he listens to this. I'm pretty sure he played those for the longest time.
I don't know, and if you do not know them, you need to look them up right now. They were the epitome of why Nike never makes clubs ever again.
That and like the square Sasquatch driver.
Yeah, and they all kind of came out around the same time, but those were like they weren't my first set of new irons, but they were the first set of irons that I got fitted for, right?
Gotcha.
And if you were swinging downwind and you took the club back, it would whistle. It was the most hideous thing in the world. So if I was hitting downwind, you just hear in your backswing. It was the best thing ever. And I remember I was so in love with them because Tiger was Nike, right? That's when I bought them. It was I gotta have these things. In hindsight, the worst purchase I think my parents ever made for me. But my God, the nostalgia tied to those, because I will tell you, I've always told myself, I was if I can find a pair, a set of slingshots in a used club shop somewhere, I'm fucking buying them, just to have them. Hey, you're in town, guess what? You get to use the slingshots today. Those are my rental clubs in my house. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was 6 for me. Honestly, now that I talk about them, probably should have been higher.
Yeah, the whistle. Oh my God.
The whistle, you're hitting downwind. Just not aerodynamic at all.
Oh my God. So a note on Nike clubs. I have a Nike VR hybrid in my bag.
Okay, they made there was some clubs. That was one of them that wasn't bad. And their 3-woods were not terrible.
Yeah.
But the drivers and irons were.
Yep. Speaking of the drivers, the other note, I bought a Nike NDS driver. This is 8th or 9th grade.
Oh, God.
That thing was ass. Truly just bad.
Oh, God. Nike clubs. I'm so glad we're past that in golf history.
I'm glad that was on this list. Oh, oh my God.
All right. We'll go to year 5. We're going to keep it in order here.
All right. Number 5 for me. I mentioned I played my dad's clubs for a long time. He has, I think all of his irons were knockoff pings. But there was also this sand wedge he had in this bag. Graphite shaft.
Oh, God.
And it was also the high toe, you know what I mean? You could not miss hit this club. I don't care who you are. You do not miss hit this club.
You toe it, it still goes the same
Between
distance.
the graphite shaft and that club face, oh my God.
Again, maybe not conforming. We really don't know.
Who knew? Who knew? But I used that thing.
That's awesome.
Until I got the Vokey. That was my, I would use
crap.
that thing from anywhere 110 in. That club's in my hands. It was absolutely electric.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good one. I like, and that kind of leads to me, this one for me. So I got this club for free, and it was old. I say old, it was wood. So I did a junior camp up at Meadowlands here in Cincinnati, and I didn't have a driver. And I remember the pro, I'll be honest with you, he taught me for 8 years. I don't remember his last name. His first name was Bob. And all I know is when he got done teaching us, one day he's I'm not going to be in Cincinnati anymore. I'm going to buy a cricket farm in Florida. Well, he gave me this Ben Hogan wooden 2-wood that was cut down. Dude, I used to stripe the fuck out of this thing. It was the greatest club. And obviously it was the first club, but they gave it to me. I went to this junior camp and they gave it to me for free, out of the bin. Bob did. And so, I used that for the first 3 or 4 years golf, because my parents were I played baseball, I was playing soccer. They're we're not going to buy you clubs yet. Let you grow. And yeah, that club was fucking sick, dude. The thing hit piss missiles. 8 years old, I'm hitting a Ben Hogan 1-2-wood, 135 yards. I thought I was the shit.
Oh, yeah.
So that was my number 5, just because of the wood, free, old. I love old clubs like that.
Oh, yeah. Super cool. Jumping to number 4. So, God, like I said, I think every single one of these clubs on this list was not my club originally. I'm realizing that now. Shout out to Ryan, both the drivers that have made this list, I got from him. So number 4 is a TaylorMade R11 driver, which was a massive upgrade for me. I was using, I think it was a Cobra S2, which was fine, but just never really hit it great. And this thing, I think it introduced what you guys know as my shot shape now, was by getting this driver.
The drop kick?
The draw came to play purely from having this driver. And this is one that it just left my bag within the last year and a half as well. Finally upgraded my driver, so.
Oh, yeah, you did have that until just now, didn't you?
Yeah, and so that was, I mean, if that was like the original, maybe the original of like the Whitehead, White Club Head.
Yeah, I think
drivers.
it was actually. Yeah, was the R8 before that?
Who could say?
Who knows? I have no idea.
I mean, I know it's by year.
Like,
but...
I hate, like, being a better golfer and being around the game. Like, they're like, oh, what kind of shaft do you have in that thing? I'm like, the one that I got. Like, I don't know anything. When clubs came along or whatever, but I think the R8 was before that. But the R11 was the first white one. I believe it was.
Yeah, and so even follow up to that, like, after I moved on from it, passed it on to our buddy Gunth. He used that thing for a couple of years here recently. So I mean,
he finally got a new driver too.
Yeah, so it's that was a good one. That's got a good history.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one. My number 4, my first brand new set of clubs, straight out of I think they're sold in Walmarts, or they used to be sold in Walmarts. Air Bears.
Whoa. I don't even know what that is.
You don't know what the Air Bears are?
No.
Oh my God, they're Jack Nicklaus irons.
Oh, okay. I
could
have guessed. But...
I swear to God, I think they were sold in Walmarts. And my parents were like, all right, we're going to get you a brand new set of clubs. Got the Air Bears. And the nostalgia comes from, like, I used them for, God, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And then because they weren't real metal, they were like, I don't even know. They were like plated with metal.
Oh, God.
It started chipping.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I finally got new clubs, but the Air Bears, man, those things were sick. Like, for a Walmart bought club, like, they're the Costco clubs now. Like, those things were so awesome. And they were my first new, like, I took them out of wrappers. Like, that was cool. So that's why I was higher up on the list, just because it was like the first set of new irons that I got.
Yes, that's funny because that's a good transition for me. My number 3, similar situation. When I decided I wanted to play golf in middle school, my parents decided to get me my own set of clubs, which I did not play in high school. I went back to my dad's because I loved that sandwich of my dad so much that I insisted upon getting graphite shafts. I had no idea what I'm talking about back then. So we bought...
This is a cool thing.
Yeah. We bought an Affinity box set from Dick's.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
I did not hit them very well. They were like regular flex. They're just so whippy. Like I had just no control. You were
swinging pasta noodles out there. You didn't even know any better.
Just so brutal. But it was cool because they were the first ones, like to your point, that I unboxed and unwrapped on my own. There was a 7-wood in that set that stayed in my bag, I'm not even kidding, until college.
Dude,
that thing was the most money club that I've owned in my entire life. It was the baby draw, 200 yards from anywhere.
I'm not discounting this 7-wood, but I feel like 7-woods are like, if you ask someone like, this is my favorite club, like I feel like people say 7-woods a lot. But
I've never seen
discount. I'm not discounting your Infinity 7-wood. I'm just saying.
I've never seen a 7-wood or owned one since that one. I know they exist.
I kind of want a 7-wood. But I want an Infinity 7-wood now.
Look, once I cross like 50 or something, I'm going to have like 5 hybrids or woods or whatever.
Yeah, you're not going to have anything but like a 9-iron, and everything above a 9-iron is going to be a hybrid.
Exactly. So I think that's just maybe foreshadowing for my future goal.
Oh, God.
What's your number 3?
So my first new putter I ever got was a Odyssey White Hot. That thing, I used that putter as a fashion statement. That thing had about 45 different grips on it in a span of about 7 years. And I loved it. It was, again...
Was it the blade?
Yeah.
Yeah, the number 1. Okay.
Yeah, I love that thing. And I putted with it forever. I actually putted with it until my freshman year in high school. It went to get regripped. And I used my brother Scotty Cameron during tryouts my freshman year. Just making everything, and it got benched. Flashback to our first segment, that is the same Odyssey putter that I broke after the 2021 loss to Tampa Bay in the NFC. I feel really bad about breaking it because, again, it's number 3 on my list, but something had to be broken, and that was the cheapest thing I could get my eyes on. So, but I love that thing. It had such a good insert and feel. Again, maybe it's just nostalgic because it was my first brand new putter I ever had. But yeah, that was my number 3.
All right, number 2 for me. The first driver I got from Ryan was a Titleist 905R. Him and I swapped. I can't remember if I had the 905T or the 905R, but we swapped because of the shafts, right? So the one that I had was a Pro Force V2, which was like super trendy at the time and a way better shaft for him. The one that he gave me had a pink Aldilla shaft. This thing...
Remember this club.
Oh my God, I love this driver. It may not have been the best that I've hit driver. Ryan might tell you otherwise, but it was the one that I loved the most.
And the 905 was the best driver titles ever made.
I loved that club.
That's
Period, point blank.
Yeah. I remember you having that club. Yeah, I remember, yeah.
Oh.
And yeah, the pink shaft, right?
Yeah, no, I think the first time I ever went to Fairfield Glade was with Ryan and his dad. And on that trip, I had that driver and the 7-wood in the bag. And I'm pretty sure Jerry and Ryan will both tell you, like...
Never missed a fairway.
I took all their money just with those 2 clubs.
So. I love it. I had my 905 forever, too. And that I would agree. That was like one of the best drivers ever made. I like that one. That was a good one. Especially because it was, again, free.
Yeah. Well, I think I swapped it, but whatever.
Yeah, swap. Yeah, whatever. All right, number 2, back to irons. My gosh, I'm like an iron king over here. But just for record, I've only had 4 sets of irons in my 26 years of golfing. So get some use out of these things. I'm not flip-flopping every year. My 695 MBs. I remember my parents got them for me for Christmas. It's like 2004 or 5, one of those two. And it just so happened that Christmas Eve that day was like 65 degrees. And I'm like, Dad, I don't give a fuck. Santa's not real. We're going to play golf. And so I remember my parents let me open them. And I had those clubs up until 3 years ago. So I had them from when I was like 15 years old until I was 30. Actually, it was 30. Because I remember that was my 30th birthday present to myself was irons. So I had those things for a long time. And I remember, like, Danielle, I was switching them out of my bag, and I had got my new AP2s, and I was a little teary-eyed. You know, those clubs have been through a lot. High school golf, college golf, dust, kids. Like, they were there through everything. And I loved those. God, they were so good. They were so pure, but I just got to the point where hitting blades, playing twice a week was just not going to happen anymore.
Well, I'm pretty sure that I learned what a wear spot was by looking at those.
My 7-iron had the biggest wear spot on it in the center, by the way, because I used to practice. Obviously, it's like the main club I hit when I practiced. And yeah, I had those. God, I love those clubs. If I still had the pitching wedge, if I hadn't thrown it in the woods somewhere in Fairfield Golf Course, I would every once in a while, just for nostalgic purposes, that's a whole nother story, but I'd probably still just whip them out and play with them every once in a while.
Yeah. Oh.
God, I love those clubs. Oh, man. Nothing better.
I love those clubs.
They're butter knives, though. They're butter knives.
Yeah. Like,
you look down at those things, and that top of that club is like, it feels like a centimeter wide. And that was honestly the reason I was like worried about getting new clubs, because I was like, I'm not gonna love looking down at anything other than these.
Yeah.
But I knew I couldn't get a blade, but those things were so good to me. Love them.
All right, we're on to number 1, and we're going back to the Golf Galaxy Used Club rack. My number 1 most nostalgic golf club was my Odyssey 2-ball white hot putter. I think I bought it.
God, those are good putters, though.
In like 2006, something like that. It was probably sophomore year of high school, I believe. Maybe even freshman year. I'm not entirely sure. That thing stayed in my bag until just last year. So we're talking 15, 16, 17, something like that years.
God dang. But they're such good putters, though.
I threatened it sometimes, but it always came back.
Yeah.
It was just, sometimes a love-hate relationship, but mostly love. But it was just time, It was time.
And I like your new putter, but yeah, those old 2 balls were like, they were so beautiful. Like, because I don't think there was anything like it when they first came out, really, ever. Now there's a bunch of stuff out there like it, but yeah, those were good putters. I can understand the attachment to that.
Yeah, I love that thing from the moment I hit it. And it was tough to get rid of, but like, you probably didn't hear me say the word fit on any of these clubs. I actually got fit for a putter last year. That putter was 1.5 inches too long for what I needed. Did not have any toe swing to it, which apparently I need toe swing. So like, I'm putting a lot. I mean, I'm not having to manufacture the putter.
Yeah.
Let's say at this point.
Yeah, maybe that's why you're putting better.
It could be.
All right, this one is like, this is my baby, and so my number 1 is my first putter that I ever bought myself. First club I ever bought myself. So I was kind of on my number 3. I kind of told a little bit of the story. So I got my Odyssey White Hot regripped, and it didn't get finished in time, so I had to use my brother's Scotty Cameron Newport 2 in the first tryouts for freshman year high school golf. And I putted the lights out with it. And I remember leaving like the second round, and I was like, I have to go get one of these. So my mom's like, you can get one. You're paying for it. Well, Scotty Camerons were not as expensive as they used to be. Or what they used to be is a lot cheaper than they are now.
Yeah.
I remember I went to Golf Galaxy, Newport 2, red head cover, beautiful, like the most beautiful putter ever invented, and bought it myself, and I used that putter until 2 years ago. And every once in a while, you'll see me, I'll roll it out, like, I'm putting, no, I'm not putting well. Comes back out. There is no amount of money that anybody could offer me for this club, and I would sell it to them. The memories, good and bad, because I'm not going to act. I think last episode we talked about how I was the world's worst putter until about a year ago. But man, if I needed her, she was there. I mean, it was like the stability. And the Newport 2 is I'm biased, but it was the best putter ever made. Like, hands down, not even close. And yeah, I'm telling you, someone could walk up to my house right now and like, here's $1 million. I would not sell it. That's how attached to this putter I am.
I mean, the 2 most famous putters in golf are Tiger Woods' Newport 2 and Justin Eber's Newport 2. Yeah, no, this is a putter that
I don't even think Tiger's. I think actually Tiger's just sold for like $500,000 or something like that he used. I want to say in the 2008 U.S. Open, it just sold for $500,000. So mine's worth more than that. Sorry, Tiger. Yeah, mine's worth way more than that. $1 million is just not going to cut it. The only way that thing's leaving my house or my hands is if, God forbid, someone breaks in my house and only steals that putter. But I think I would probably use it to murder the person that broke into my house. So
we don't need to name any. We don't need to name any names here or anything. But didn't you almost lose?
Yeah. So I got it reshafted about 2 years ago, and I showed up to pick it up, and they're like, "We don't know what you're talking about. Like, there's no Newport 2 back here in your name." And I had I didn't sleep for 2 days. No, and then finally 2 days later they texted me and they're like, "Oh, we found it. Oh, magically, because I fucking flipped the shit in your pro shop." Yeah. Oh, now you found it. Okay. So yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I swear I lost sleep for 2 days. I don't know what I would have done if that putter was gone forever. One, if I'd ever found that person, they would be so dead. And then two, I freaked out. I remember texting you guys. I was like, it's gone. Someone stole it out of a pro shop to get reshafted. But yeah, thank God. Oh, it's still there. And it'll be there forever.
Yeah.
Until I whip it out again to play. I think I'm going to switch to it here soon. We'll see.
It always comes back. And half the time it's like us forcing you, like, dude, get this guy.
Yeah, okay. It's like, all right, enough with the phantom putters and all this, bullshit, mallet putters. It's like, go back to the old trusty. So, We'll see. It'll probably be out at some point again this year. So
That's awesome. No, thank you again, Jason, for the idea. That was amazing. And
good reflecting on
if
it.
anybody feels like texting, tweeting,
or anything,
DMing us what their clubs are, from their
pictures, even pictures even better. I'll probably send you a picture of. I've got a couple of these that I can maybe send some pictures of, and we can maybe do like a collage of if we have any of these, on Instagram or something.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, with that, we're going to go on into our last segment. As always, the patio beer section.
The best segment.
We asked each other a question. No pre-screening here. First time we're hearing it. And we made a promise, non-golf related questions this week.
This is definitely non-golf. Yeah.
All right. You made me go last, or you asked me first last week. I'm going to ask you first this week.
Okay.
I mentioned this pre-show. I feel like this could be just an own goal on myself here by asking this question. I'm curious, what is your most egregious movie on your list of movies you have not seen? Based on popularity or, whatever metric you want to base it on.
Oh, man, that's a tough one. Because there's some movies, I'll say it. Actually, I think I know it. I've never seen Die Hard from beginning to end. Ever.
God, this is such an own goal. I've also never seen Die Hard.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, I get it. It's like, again, not trying to pound on nostalgia or anything, but like, I get why I've never seen it. And it's funny. Every Christmas, everybody's like, oh, it's a Christmas movie. I was like, this year is going to be the year I watch it. Don't watch it.
Yep.
I don't know. I have no motivation to watch it. I've heard it's a good movie, but never seen it. That I think as far as actual like folk,
Yeah.
That's probably the one. If I tell somebody like, "Oh, I've never seen Die Hard," they're like, "Oh, you've never seen Die Hard? Oh my gosh! Like this is the greatest movie ever." I'm like, "Is it?" I've heard differently from some people, so I've never watched it.
I'm just going to list off a couple I haven't just to go ahead and get it out.
I'll try to think of another one, but that's the one that I always get comments on. They're like, "Oh, you've never seen Die Hard?" It's like, no, I've never seen Die Hard.
These are just kind of random ones that came to mind. Is like kind of what you said, like they're big pop culture movies.
Yeah,
I've never seen Jaws.
Okay, that's bad. But continue. Go.
I've never seen Titanic.
I thought every person our age went to Titanic to see Rose's boobs. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I was like,
maybe I need to go watch it.
Rose is naked in it. So yeah. No, spoiler alert if anybody's not seen it.
And there's many more I could list, but probably this one might say it all that you need to know.
Oh God.
I've never seen any of the Godfather movies.
Oh, that's probably worse than Die Hard, only because it's like that is like the pop culture movie.
Yeah,
that is the gangster, mob movie. Holy crap! Yeah,
those are just ones I could think of offhand. I mean, there's
I'm still sitting here thinking if there's another movie I haven't seen that someone would be like, oh my gosh, you've never seen that movie. Those were pretty good ones because I feel like those are all ones that I've almost everybody's seen.
Yeah,
there's some people out there that I know people that have not seen Die Hard, but that's the one that I say and people can't believe I've never seen it. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm like a movie person, so I've kind of seen everything. But those are bad. Titanic especially. Yeah. Like I thought everybody our age just went to the movie theater was like Rose is going to be naked. Like I'm going to see this movie today.
I'm oblivious. No idea.
Oh my gosh, maybe this is because I had older siblings or something. But yeah, those are pretty good. I don't know if I can outdo that. Die Hard's probably the one that I've never seen that I know people would get. I don't know, not mad, but they would kind of double take.
I just thought of one more. So something in the same vein as. Oh my God! Actually, you know what? I got two more for you.
Oh God! This was more of a question.
I'm sorry.
You.
I'm just outing myself.
I like it. It's taking the heat off me because I'm like I can't think of another one.
Two things. I've never seen an entire James Bond movie.
Holy crap!
That's bad. I know it's really bad.
Oh my gosh.
2, this is one that kind of like
Have
Die
you
Hard.
ever played the video game?
Yeah.
Okay.
GoldenEye 007 is like the GOAT of video games.
Okay. I was going to say, if you've never played the video game, then we're going to have some discussions.
No, I've just never seen one all the way through. I've seen lots of parts
Pieces,
of
yeah.
a lot of them, but never seen one all the way through. The other one that I think is similar to Die Hard in that like people of our generation, like this was like the movies. I've never seen a Matrix movie.
That's a pretty big one, too. They were so popular.
Yeah.
Phew, man, we got to get you watching
All right, I'm
more
done.
movies.
I'm done now.
I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I don't know if I can think of another one. Die Hard's the one, just because it's... Okay, I have other movies I watch at Christmas, and I know a lot of people watch that movie around Christmas time. So I choose to watch other movies, and not that... I've heard the argument, is it a Christmas movie or whatever, but I'm not going to sit down like tomorrow night and watch Die Hard. Just not going to do it. Actually, I do have one more, and I didn't find out, and this is probably not as bad as yours.
Okay.
I've never seen any of the police academies.
Okay. I've seen, I didn't know there's multiple. I've seen like the original.
I think there's like 7 of them.
Oh
At
my
least what
God.
I was told.
Okay.
I've never seen the original, which is like the one that everybody's kind of seen.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. I watched a little bit of it. It's funny. No interest in watching it, though.
No.
Like sitting down and watching it.
I don't think you're missing
That's the
anything with
only... Yeah, but there's people that love that movie. Like, there's a pretty big following for that movie. So that was the only one that I recently found out that was taboo for me not to watch or whatever. I've never seen. But yeah, that's it. That's the only one I can think of because I've kind of seen everything else. So
Good.
we're done owning you.
that. Okay, good.
Well,
Well,
not
we'll see.
quite.
Oh my God. All right.
All right. So shout out. I got a little help of this. I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of anything that would be more fun than this question. So
Cool.
What is the most embarrassing or worst memory from a party that post when you started drinking? So like any party after you started kind of drinking at parties. Because you can't go back to like, well, I was 5 years old and some girl pulled down my pants. No, we're not doing that. Worst memory or most embarrassing doesn't matter.
Ooh. You had to have asked Nick this question.
No,
Or he
I had
gave me
Ryan.
this. Ryan gave this. Lord have mercy. A lot of different ways we could go here. That's not good. I mean, there's like the classic, we got busted at Ryan's house. That's a...
Okay, you're on a good track because that's probably one of mine.
That was a tough scene. And I was such a goody two-shoes that, like, I'm pretty sure you took the fall for everything
I
bad
took
that
all
happened.
of it. I took all of it.
So that, we'll tuck that one away. Maybe that's for behind the paywall if there's a paywall one day. Most embarrassing? I mean, I think probably this was, like, freshman year of college. Came home. And there was a house party somewhere with some people from high school and stuff. And I think I caused a mass evacuation of the party. Because I swear to God, there were cops that turned down the street that we were all on.
Oh, God.
And I saw them. And so I told her, like, oh shit, cops, like, we gotta go. Because we're all underage at this point, it's freshman year of college. And so, like, everybody just starts running, like, going to their cars.
Yeah.
Cars
no
are
underages.
Cars
yeah.
are parked across the street, like everywhere else. People are running across the street to go get their cars out of church parking lots, stuff like that. And it was like a mega false alarm. So that was pretty personally embarrassing. I mean, outside of that, there's probably a lot of really dumb, just like, oh, I passed out, or oh,
Yeah,
I threw
yeah,
up, or,
like, but that, yeah.
But that one was like, yeah, I like cleared out like a party of like 60 plus people on a false alarm.
I guess if we're into this, I'll tell you mine. So mine happened in high school. I went to a party with an unnamed friend of ours. We'll leave it for security purposes. I happened to run into a unnamed Bengals player because I still think he might be looking for me.
Oh my God, I forgot about this.
And we should have never been at this party. Like, let's just start it out that. Like, seniors in high school, we were at a college party with a Bengals player who was on suspension at this point for the same exact thing that he's doing at the table. And Justin thought, you know what we should do? We should take a picture. It was my first camera phone I ever had. I'm like, let's take a picture of this guy. And I will tell you this right now, his entourage of people. Mind you, let's backtrack just a hair. I was fanboying over about 3 or 4 Ohio State football players were at this party. That started that. And then all of a sudden I see this guy and I'm like, I'm going to take a picture of him doing said act that he's already suspended from the NFL for. And I've never ran so fast out of a house in my entire, like, I saw my whole life flash before my eyes. I'm pretty sure there was like 9 or 10 people in his entourage looking for me that night. And I just disappeared off into the dust into White Oak off of 74. They never caught me. And people were like, you should have kept that photo. I'm like, dude, I was deleting evidence at that point. I wanted nothing to do with that photo after almost dying. For sure. So that was probably mine. And again, for the purposes of not being found, I'm not going to name that Bengals player. And you can ask me, and there's a handful of people that know who it is. And you can maybe do enough research to find out who it might be, but I'm not going to say it out loud. So that was mine. It wasn't so much embarrassing. It was like I put myself in a situation where we had to then leave the party and go home.
Yeah.
So
that's tough. That's tough. God, those are great. I'm glad we got through that. I'm glad we got through your cathartic Aaron Rodgers experience.
I needed that laugh of the party and the movies to get me through my Aaron Rodgers news today.
Yeah, that's a good way to end your Monday night. Yeah, next week, looking ahead, just pro golf wise, PGA Tour is going to Mexico.
Yeah, not at Mayakoba this year.
Well, it wasn't last year either.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's been a couple years since. I don't know where it's actually at.
I have no clue. All I know is John Rahm's defending. I don't know if he's playing.
He is playing. Okay. Yeah, he is playing.
So yeah, that's going on. I don't know how much of that I'll catch. We'll see. Probably not a lot.
Not a lot. Yeah.
PGA Championship coming up in a couple weeks. Yeah. That'll be great to get back on the major.
Oak Hill.
Yep. But other than that, I mean, hey, like I said, give us a follow on social media, Instagram and Twitter. We are at back9sixpack with the number 9. And then, hey, drop us an email if you feel like it. back9sixpack@gmail.com. Again, with the number 9. And other than that, cheers.
See ya. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Six Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Six Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.